So no, he didn't.
I'm gonna keep going.
Big steer, get rid of
And I
it.
said-
Nice strong things.
I said,
One
oh,
time,
man, they
well,
don't
actually
know
twice,
what
my wife lost her diamond on her.
there.
Yeah, it was.
He's like, yeah.
I had to buy the replacement.
Driving around.
Oh,
Then I lost my wedding
Yeah.
ring, and I had to buy the replacement. I don't understand that. That doesn't work out.
Okay.
What you should have done is had a writer on your insurance.
We did.
Yeah.
Flip, she wanted a bigger one. It has replaced it.
I'm sure that's what she said.
One time,
Done here this last.
That's
when
not
work was still,
Haven't
you
heard
know
of
happened.
We go down and buy.
how we practice up at the field?
We go do
Dave's claiming that
Well,
they
you know,
didn't
when you're
get something
stunting,
or.
you don't wear those.
Yeah,
And,
he was still waiting. for
left
the
my
taxes to
rings
go
there.
through, we know that, right?
And.
Well, I didn't know that until the
So,
conversation
I
was
had to
had.
get into insurance
He's
and
waiting for the-
was able to get
He
it.
signed a replacement already, like, after-
Yeah, talk about panic, we went up there.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. The call is being ordered. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And a roll call, please.
Todd,
Here.
Ford,
Is excused.
Sam,
Here.
Devin,
Here.
Monica, here, Bob, and Ben.
Present.
All right, we will move on to review and approval of minutes. We'll start with the January 9th minutes. Any comments or corrections on these minutes?
Make a motion to approve as written.
I will second. So I have a motion and a second to approve the January 9th minutes as written. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the January 30th special meeting minutes. Any comments or corrections on these minutes? If not, then I will make the motion to approve as written. Sam, second. So I have a motion and a second to approve the January 30th minutes as written. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to liaison reports. Start with the marijuana coordinator report. Any questions on the coordinator report? If not, then we'll move on to the zoning administrator report. Was the meeting with county animal control about the kennel licenses?
About kennel licenses and no, barking and what we can do and all that stuff. Which basically we can't do much of anything. Because they're having the same problems as
Gotcha.
far as the barking and the noise and
What updates of records with the assessor were you working on? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, there was some, there was a couple that she didn't have, zoning applications for some reason or another. So we were just going over all of those to make sure that she had her copies, so she can, when she does the update or, because she's gonna go start taking pictures or whatever.
Okay.
So there was a couple there that we had to figure out what was going on.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I don't know if you got the rest of the people that weren't here, there was a, what'd you do, a top 5 on these,
Top 10, yeah, we went to through top 10 and we, the board, agreed for 3. So I don't know off the top of my head which one. I'm sure Ben does.
I didn't, well, I mean, I can go through my notes and see which 3, but yes, they went through the whole list and they picked his top 3. When he went through the list, they weren't in any particular order that you see on here. So he said, this one's my number 1 priority, my number 2 priority, my number 3 priority.
I just played it all up there and.
Yeah, they showed pictures and so on. And then the supervisor just told him to go forward with the first 3. The board made no action.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on that? If not, we'll hold the Parks and Rec one until item 8. And do you have any verbal from the meeting aside from?
Yeah, the township boards chose to order phones or pay for phones for the new township hall. So that's going through. It'll be a phone system now rather than just a household cordless phone. They decided to hire shred experts to come in and shred any documents that the different organizations have. So if you have any documents that the planning commission needs to get rid of before we move the stuff from one hall to another, that can get done.
Is that a one-time thing or?
It's done as a one-time thing. They've done it before,
Okay.
so they can do it again. But right now, they're going to do it as a purge before they move everything. Since it wouldn't make much sense to move them and then shred them a month later.
So the stuff that they're disposing of, like, is there electronic records of it already,
I
or?
do not know the answer to that. You got 2 of the parties here that might be shredding stuff, so you could ask them, or 3.
Is it?
It's everything that's out of the retention.
Okay. So it's stuff that has just gone past the retention period. Okay.
The board decided to, I don't even know how to word it properly, but the motion was to hire Mr. Fabro at $19 an hour for extra work, not included in the scope of his, they didn't really say what specifically extra work. But anyway, so he'll get paid $19 an hour to do other work that he doesn't do in his regular job. There's going to be a couple people going to the training thing that they do once a year with MTA. I do have the addresses of the first 3 that Troy's going to be doing. If you need to know them, I can tell you that later. That's about it.
Where is this written? I don't have this report here in front of me.
I'm reading my notes.
Why don't we have a report like the rest of them?
Because I didn't write one.
So that's why I asked for a verbal report.
And that's what I'm giving.
All right. Anything? And so that was it.
That's the highlights. If there's anything you got questions about, I can look it up.
Anybody else? Questions for Ben during the meeting? If not, then move on to setting public hearing dates for medical and adult use applications. There are none.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Just the only thing I had tonight was the updated documents from Alien Tech from the last special meeting. If you guys want to take a look at those. They're- But they gave everything to me the next day and we took care of everything right away after the meeting, so.
All right. Thank you for taking care of that. All right, with that, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is planning commission review of letter from attorney regarding Armitage Armory in action. So the letter is on Troy's letterhead. The wording I've confirmed with Troy is what the attorney sent back. So this letter is with respect to the proposed gunsmithing business at Armitage Arms. It will be located within the Vassar Township. Proposed location of the gunsmithing operation is 3654 West Saginaw Road. The property is zoned commercial under the Vassar Township zoning ordinance. It is my opinion that gunsmithing, that is the act of repairing or modifying firearms or assembling firearms from pre-manufactured parts, is permitted in the commercial zoning district of the Vassar Township. However, the industrial manufacture of firearms or firearm components is not permitted within the commercial zoning district. It is my understanding that Armitage Arms does not intend to engage in the industrial manufacture of firearms or firearm components on this property, although the Type 07 license would technically permit such use. The obtaining of the Type 07 license does not provide approval to engage in industrial manufacture of firearms or firearm components on the property. Furthermore, the operation of the commercial gun range is not permitted in the commercial zoning district. Both of the latter two uses would require additional review and approval by Vassar Township, which has not been granted at this time. Now, on the industrial manufacturing, I know she did say eventually they would like to get a lathe to make and turn barrels. So the only thing I would ask that we go back to the attorney for is to have her define at what intensity it goes from being just a commercial, like making golf clubs type thing,
Right.
to the intensity has become industrial manufacturing. Because, people do lathe work and stuff out of their garage anyway, but what is she defining as industrial manufacture? At what level of intensity is
Where does
she
it cross the
defining?
line?
Yeah, where does it cross the line?
Because I would say that if the person's doing gunsmithing, they might need one of those small lathes to
Right.
tear a part, to make a
Right.
part. That's not the same as getting into manufacturing either.
Right, and that's why I want the attorney to, because this will come up with the new ordinances too, right? What defines an increase in intensity to industrial manufacturing? But otherwise, I personally don't disagree with anything that the attorney said. So, other than giving the okay on this, does anybody else have any comments on this?
Well, she stated the intent on gunsmithing and this other stuff, which is fine, but if the license doesn't specifically say that, that doesn't, like I said, that'll be 10 years down the road, she sells it, they have a license, and they're gonna do whatever they wanna do with it.
Right, and I think that's where the attorney is saying if they want to do anything else that would be permitted by that type of license, they would be required to come to us. So anything beyond, and this is where I want the definition with, getting a small lathe and turning a barrel, if that now puts them into the industrial level, because it does say repairing or modifying firearms or assembly of firearms from pre-manufactured parts. So that's why I want the attorney to define at what point does it become an industrial activity, because by what the attorney wrote, they can only do it to pre-bought parts. The buying of the lathe, based on what the attorney has written, would then potentially put it into that industrial level, and that's why I want the attorney to define where they feel that crosses the line. Because one lathe, somebody doing woodworking or wood turning or whatever, they're not producing thousands of parts. They're turning a couple of pieces, a couple of legs to make a chair or whatever. I wouldn't consider that an industrial process, but,
And they wouldn't be assembling mass.
right, and that's where I want to, and like I said, with the zoning ordinance that we're looking at, there's a lot of, like, okay, it's an increase in intensity. Well, how does our attorney define that increase in intensity?
Be more specific though. For instance, if they have a lathe to
Right.
manufacture a piece to repair a gun,
Right,
does that count as manufacturing?
Okay.
Or is it only when they start turning,
like
we're making 35 barrels and we're making 35 of these and 35 of these so we can
we're
make 35
we're
guns.
making our own branded
There,
30-06s. Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
I have a different angle here I'm
Yeah.
worried about. I do not believe, and I appreciate what Troy's done, and I don't know, I gotta figure out between the lines here what's going on, but this is not from the attorney, and should not be weighed as from the attorney. The attorney didn't put it on their letterhead, why? Now, if it was an email to him, then maybe you could copy the email to us or something. Give it on driving at? This in no way, shape, or form looks like a letter from the attorney. This looks like a letter from you. And that's fine if the attorney told you all that information, but we shouldn't weigh this as a letter from the attorney. This is not a letter from the attorney.
Okay, well, I can.
You get what I'm driving at?
Sure, I can print out the email. I didn't know there was gonna be.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, it doesn't even have the attorney's name. It's
No.
reach out to my office and then your name. So whose office are we reaching out to, yours or his?
Okay,
Get what I'm driving at?
I know.
So and that only is gonna matter if we take action. We're not taking action tonight, are we? I mean, I didn't know this was coming up until I saw this. And
I mean, it was on the agenda.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've seen that and seen
Right.
this, but I don't know why.
mean,
Is it on the
something-
agenda to take action? Because I thought the last we left it was she was supposed to do something. I
Well,
didn't know it was going through our
the
attorney.
last we left it was
I didn't
we
know.
requested a site plan based off of,
Yeah.
it was a change in use of the property. Not that it wasn't a commercial venture, and we said, like, we feel that it falls under this use by right, but it still needed to go through a site plan review.
So do we still?
But I'm
feel
not-
that way? I mean,
Because the question was whether it was attached to the house or not, was one thing.
Well, I think we came to the conclusion it's zoned commercial, it doesn't matter whether it's attached to the house or not. That kind of went out the window. It's not really a home occupation anymore because it's on commercial property. But I think where we left it was like, hey, this sounds like this type of activity, which is, if this is coming directly from the attorney, that's what the attorney is also getting to is it's this repair type workplace, which would be a use by right in the commercial.
and then use by right doesn't need a site plan.
It needs a site plan, but it doesn't need a public hearing.
Oh.
It just needs a site plan to show like, hey, this is where I'm going to be doing this activity. This is the buildings that I'm going to be using.
So we wouldn't be taking action tonight other than to say, move forward, get that information, get it back to us.
I mean, that's what I was hoping that she would get to us before
That's what
we
I,
had.
right. And on that is where she could have put the restriction of, I'm not manufacturing. That's what I thought we left it as.
Yeah,
Right.
then she got her lawyer involved.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that, I didn't know all this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did her lawyer talk to our lawyer or something?
No, her lawyer talked to me.
Okay, and then that's what caused you to talk to our attorney.
Yes.
See, now I'm filling in some pieces I didn't know.
Okay.
Because I didn't know we were going to our attorney about it.
I mean, so here's the two things I see need to happen. So like we can as a group say we agree with this interpretation as presented from the attorney, but we still need the site plan based off of the way the zoning ordinance is worded.
So they would still have to fill out the paperwork like normal, come to us like normal.
Right, and it
then
would
we
just
go
be
forward
like
at that point.
it would just be like, yeah,
Okay.
okay, this is the building that you're going to be operating in. This is what you're going to be doing there. Okay, great. It's a use by right. Use by right doesn't require a public hearing. It just requires a site plan review. It's the same thing we did with the vet care clinic, right? It's commercial property. They changed what they were doing on the property. They came and they got reviewed, and we went through the motions, and yep, you're good to go. Just don't add to this part of the property, because if you add to this part, you're increasing
Non-conforming, right.
you're increasing a non-conformance. But, I mean, to me, that's where we're at. We're at the point of like, yes, this answers the question that we were
Right.
kind of at the last time. It's like, does this, based off of the wording of this license, yes, we all agree that it does allow potentially for manufacturing. Based off of what they want to do on the property, it sounds like this use by right segment, the wording that Troy has in this that says came from the attorney, agrees with that assessment, which then would get back to, okay, you just need a site plan review to show this is where you're going to be operating, this is the building that you're going to be using. Boom, done, we move on.
And in there would be the paperwork saying they're not doing manufacturing, which is what
License
we're talking about in the first place.
their license clearly states manufacturing in part of the license.
And as
The
long as
last part of it says manufacturing, that was the issue.
But if this wording is coming from the attorney, again, the attorney is saying that as long as, and that's why I'm asking for what they define as an increase in intensity to manufacturing/industrial that would go beyond the commercial.
and that could be put on their paperwork. This is the line. If you're doing this,
I mean,
you're
that
okay.
would just
If
be,
you cross the line, you're not.
that would just, actually, it wouldn't even be on the paperwork. It would just be like, this is what our attorney says is defining as going beyond the commercial use that you are allowed to do. Because the lady even sat there, well, your ordinances prevent me from doing that. Okay, so now we have wording from the attorney that says, once you cross this line, you've gone beyond what the ordinance allows.
So we basically show of hands type of thing and tell Troy to go ahead and get the paperwork rolling and get it on the next month's agenda, and we're done.
I think the way this sounds, I mean, from what she said they were gonna do would be fine. My concern is, to protect the township on what could be also given in that license.
Well, that information from the attorney can be in the file as a permanent part of the record.
They have to set restrictions on the property, we can't, right?
No, in this case, it would be what they're allowed to do. I mean, the information from the attorney could be part of the record in their documents, their files. If they sell down the road, like you said, and the new person goes, well, it's a manufacturing license, and they want to start manufacturing, well, we have documents to show no, in this case, it's not.
According
So it'd be
to,
like conditional,
it's not even
It's not really
conditional.
conditional because we can't put a condition on it.
Yeah, it's not.
She could have, and we'd have been able to finish this a long time ago.
Right. It's not conditional. It's saying, like, according to our attorney, this is where the attorney thinks the line is. As long as you stay below this line, you're fine.
And then it falls back on the zoning administrator. It's now that person's job to notice if they change and start manufacturing.
Can't keep up with what he's got. You're gonna go see what's going out the back door every day?
That's
Can't
my
even
problem.
keep people.
You already have.
I mean, if you start
They don't
seeing,
have that problem anyhow, even
seeing,
if they know it.
if you start seeing like 3 and 4 CNC machines move in there, they've gone beyond. Like, it's not going to be a small thing. Yes, it may creep over time, but you're also, when you're talking about manufacturing at the level that I'm assuming that the attorney's talking about, like, it's not going to be small pieces of equipment. Like, you're talking about adding, a bunch of bridge ports. You're talking about adding a couple of lathes. You're talking about adding some CNC machines, and like, they're going to start advertising that they're making their own guns. Like, there's going to be signs that it has increased, but you're right. It will also be not super easy to enforce in terms of, like, how do you keep tabs on it? But as long as the documentation is in the file that says this is what our attorney says the ordinance
Right.
limits you to.
So if a sale comes up X number of years down the road,
Right.
they can't use the argument, well, this is what's allowed, you allow it. No,
Right.
look at the records.
Right. The paperwork shows this is what we were this is
Right.
the level that you were limited to. regardless of whether your license allows you to do this other stuff or not. So, yeah, I mean.
So basically, what do? We direct Troy to go ahead and start the process, work with her, get it done, get it on our agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
think
any
that's
other
where we're
business.
at. Is just tell her that we're right back to where we were when she was here the last time. Is
Right.
give us a site plan and, you know, we can move on. Now that we've got this is additional documentation
I mean,
to
either
back
way,
up her argument of, well, your zoning ordinance prevents me from doing this. Okay, well, now we've got additional documentation that our attorney is saying, yes, you are limited to this.
but I guess what I'm saying is either way,
Yeah,
even if we felt that way last time,
Right.
we needed that last time.
right, yeah, we still
We couldn't
need
have
it.
dealt with
regard-
it 2 months ago because we didn't
Right.
have that.
Right.
We still don't have that, right?
Yeah, right, yeah, she
So
would have
if you go forward with
submitted.
her, get whatever we gotta get submitted, submit it to us, then we can go forward. Now we have this information to help us out. But for that time, I would prefer it to be from the attorney with his information. If it's an email, print the email on your letterhead. That's fine, as long as it's got his, you know. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
Shows that
understand you're saying
Kane's-
it's from the
yeah.
attorney, but it doesn't say it's from the attorney.
Okay.
I just think that we have so much trouble already in enforcing the rules that we have now. Once this is in there, how are you ever gonna get it back out again? If you say, okay, it's not, it's
Well,
across the
hold
line
on.
now.
Now, also, don't forget, the ordinances are going to be changing here very shortly. And the new ordinance say, if you make any change that would require you to update a site plan or a special land use, you immediately have to come in before you do it.
But furthermore, you already have that problem with everything else.
That's what I'm saying.
You have
So
that with your own personal
what's
house.
the-
You decide to build an addition. You
Yeah.
gotta do it the right way, unless you just do it.
Yeah.
That's already the way it is for everything out there. That's not changing.
Your neighbors can do it over there, they're not, they can do whatever they want, they don't get cited, but, yeah. Back to enforcement, you can't, get enough hours in a day.
Well, I mean, we also have to work on the court allowing stuff to be enforced. I mean, we had that issue for how long?
Well, it sounds like we have a plan started now,
Right.
though. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Except noise.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be what it is.
I guess noise, just, it's not under this subject, sorry.
Yeah.
Years ago, the county bought something for testing noise, but you had to have a local ordinance for them to use it, to enforce it. This happened,
Decimal meter.
decibel meter, that was the word, thank you.
Yeah.
So the county never did it, and now they say they can't enforce it or something? I don't
No,
get
they
what's
just
going
don't.
on. They just don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's the same like with the new ordinance with so many candles at the property line. Like, it'd be the same type of thing, right? So many candles of light from a commercial property at the property line, that kind of enforcement. It'd be the same type of thing. It's just, then it goes back to what is the court gonna allow to be, you know, enforced and how are they able to enforce it. But anyway,
As far as the noise though, that would be just from them testing a gun that they repaired. It's because it says right there that a commercial range isn't permitted. So it would just be testing out a gun that they,
well, they had, she talked about
an
some
indoor one at one
trap
point.
thing
Yeah.
that they had.
It goes through like water.
Yeah. It would literally be like Williams Gun Sight, like an actual outdoor range or whatever. Like, but again, remember the zoning ordinances are changing. There is a part in the zoning ordinance that specifically deals with gun ranges in the new zoning ordinance. So like that is a moot point in this case. It's just right now the attorney says like, hey, that isn't within the scope. So I think, yeah, by a show of hands, is everybody good with Troy going back to Armitage and just saying, get us the site plan?
You want me
Would you
to
favor of it?
check on, you said you wanted to.
Check on the, yes,
What
the,
defines the intensity of
yeah,
going into manufacturing?
yes, get from the attorney what they're defining as the line of, like, you've gone from
Yeah,
purely commercial activity to an industrial activity. But also, the Armitage Arms also needs to get us the site plan documentation as we asked for previously, when we said, like, yeah, we feel it meets,
Yeah.
what you want to do meets this criteria. And that requires a site plan, but it does not require a public hearing. It just requires them to show, like, this is where I'm going to do this work. So everybody.
So they would have to show their buildings and
Yeah.
buildings within 100 feet of the property line, the next door neighbor's property, in other words. All
Yeah,
that
and I
kind of
can't
stuff
remember,
has to
and
be
I
on
can't,
there, I think.
yeah, I can't remember how detailed the zoning ordinance
What's in the
says it
book,
needs to
so.
be, but yeah. It just, whatever the site plan requirements are in the book, I would say just follow that, but it's a site plan, that's it.
I say no, but I don't know if you're gonna do your votes, whatever.
Yeah, no, everybody that's for it,
For it.
yea or nay, okay, and then everybody against it? Okay. All right, so, yeah, Troy, go ahead and move forward with those guidelines.
All right. I know he already said it, and I already said it, but he said it differently again, so. I would like that question to be very specific, right down to, is it the fact that they have a milling machine that's the problem? Or is a milling machine okay because they can still make a part to repair a gun? That doesn't in my mind, that doesn't constitute manufacturing, because they're not manufacturing an end product. If they're making
The
a
ability-
part to repair a gun, it's not the same as making a
The
gun.
ability to make a part for something that's obsolete
Or
or.
repair, yes.
Yeah. All right. Next agenda item, let me get my pen to work, is the Sheridan Telecommunication Tower site plan adjustment. Who owns that tower currently? Is it
It's in here.
Hemp Hill Towers? But who originally initiated it? Was it?
No, it's all empty, they're out of Oklahoma.
But when the site originally got approved, because they're adding T-Mobile to it. What was there not a carrier originally associated with it?
Yeah, Thumb Sawyer.
Some said.
Yeah.
And Thumb Sawyer put the tower is as their receivers, or you might as well say senders, whatever you want,
Yeah,
on it.
their communication
And
devices.
now they're
Well,
gonna add
it's-
T-Mobile.
since
That's-
it's
It's
Hemp Hill Towers.
It's owned by Hemphill.
Right.
And they owned it then,
They owned it then.
and their first customer was
And Thumb
Thumbside.
Sawyer was renting
Yeah.
it, and now
Okay.
they're gonna
I
add
gotcha.
T-Mobile. They're not
Right,
gonna
now
change
That's
it.
what I couldn't. That's what I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, they're not gonna change anything other than add more hardware
Right.
to the tower.
And one more of the little service buildings for that new building.
Yeah, within the,
Inside
Still
the
Within
fence.
within the
Yeah.
footprint of the.
yeah,
Still inside the fence.
Yes.
yeah.
Footprint doesn't change.
Yeah, and this comes back to the same thing we talked about last time of when we were talking about the administrative approvals and changes. I think
So
under
this
the
could be a
new
thing that doesn't
zoning,
have to come to us?
this could be a thing that, yeah, because it's not changing the footprint, it's just adding on to the tower,
It's just equipment on the tower.
communication things.
Same use, just
Yes.
another user.
Yeah,
Here it
because I
says-
think before we did, like, what it was defined as is like anything greater than a 10% or so many square foot change also was administrative, but like, I think these kind of things make sense to make also administrative.
Here it says the proposed tower 310 guide tower. Charter tenant is Thumb Wireless. There will also be capacity on the tower for 3 additional wireless carriers. That was in the original.
Yep, okay.
They change them out quite regularly. Anytime you go to look into a 5G, they gotta put a new thing up on the tower in order to be able to compensate for that.
Yeah, these are different companies that are allowing. So,
Okay,
for
anybody got any
with me.
concerns about it? I mean,
I'm concerned that is, it should be an administrative thing, doesn't even need to come to us.
right. Well, we can change, once we get the new zoning ordinance finalized, we can definitely change that.
And I'd make a motion to accept it then, if that's what you gotta do.
Yeah,
Alright,
so Bob, you're making the motion to accept the change?
yeah.
I will second. So I have a motion and a second to accept the changes to the 6366 Sheridan Road telecommunications tower. Any further discussion?
Should put Hemphill owned and we're gonna put T-Mobile, the way I'd like it on the Just
So
in
you want
case
it,
just the way that's what the application states. It's
for the
Hemphill
Hemphill?
Yeah,
Hemphill tower addition of T-Mobile infrastructure. I will accept that change to the motion as my second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So you can let them know that they're good to go on that, Troy.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Alright, so planning commission action and discussion on park and rec requests. So what do we got? Well, so let's first start with the detailed expense report, or capital request report thing. We'll start there. So this is for the electrical and the porta john, yeah? So that's also part of these, correct?
Yep.
Are you,
What,
okay.
those are both, they're different, but we want to present both so you guys can see where we're
Do
coming
you guys
from.
have you guys have a copy of the bid information or quote information for the porta john?
No, we didn't. We talked about it in the meeting, Cheryl was gonna get a hold of them and make sure price is gonna stay where they have been. And then I haven't heard back from that yet.
she had it verbal and stuff, but
Right.
Well, I mean, for the board, they'll want the actual quote, so, once you guys have that, just forward it to me and then I'll forward on this documentation. Alright, so, which of these, so you're going with the lower of the two, so
Right.
DC electric?
Yeah. The only thing I would request on that is when he looked at the electrical, I didn't have him put a light switch out there in order to be able to run the plugs without having to run the light, which is,
Oh, so that would just be wiring it up
Yeah.
similar to the way the plugs are now, right?
Yeah,
So
he's
you
gonna-
have the control box in there?
he's gonna wire it to where off in the plugs we got out there, but by having the switch, we can turn the switch off and the lights won't come on unless we want them to come on. It's not that they're because if there's an event and it closes at 10, we have better control of when the lights are gonna be on and when they're not. And all it is a winterized plug or winterized switch. So you have a switch right out there at the pavilion with the plastic over it, and you can control it that way.
you know what it is, they got a timer out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're just gonna put a switch there, so instead of say you got an event through during the day,
But
the minute you throw it on, the lights would be on. So they're just gonna put a switch that they can use them for a daytime event without
Right.
the lights being on to keep the electric down to the bill down. No sense of all the lights are on if it's a daytime. If you need them, you just throw the switch and they're right there. They're gonna come right off the same time.
I guess
I think
my
that's-
question would be, what would be the difference if? Because you're talking about having this switch out there, which means then you have to be able to lock up the
Switch will be inside by the
Oh,
box.
My mistake, that's right.
The
It'll be
switch is
inside.
inside.
It's
by the
inside
box.
the- okay.
We control it.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I guess it's the way that it was sounding, it was
No, no.
outside, okay.
No, just
So it's
here.
it's inside.
I did ask them about running off the same wires, and they said that LEDs and what the power we're pulling from the plugs, he said we won't have a problem at all. There's more than enough to handle it.
Well, the timer's in the shed.
I was my mistake, the switch is gonna be in there.
Well, if the switch is in the shed, it's not gonna control the lights, it's gonna control the plugs and the lights.
They're running off the timer.
Right,
What it already is.
And it will be again, so they'll just set
They're
the
just
timer.
jumpering the
They'll jump
lights.
in the same box.
But they're
So
not
the-
adding wire to the pavilion.
They are adding wire to the
The-
pavilion, but they
the
only have one
canister
place to get
lights
power.
will be in the ceiling wires will run over to where one of the plugs are. They tap
Hear what
in,
he's saying.
so they're
And
tapped,
they
so
come into
they,
the same box and they're gonna go, there's only one timer. So they're gonna come into the box,
How many wires run from the pole, from the shed to the pavilion?
none, no.
whoa,
There's plugs out there.
they're already there.
Well, for the lights, I'm saying.
They're already there, oh yeah,
So they're gonna use the power that's already in the ground that goes to the pavilion.
yes.
Controlled inside
So
the
if I've
building.
got a breaker box in the building,
Yep.
and I got a timer,
I see what Ben's getting at.
and then you add a switch.
You would
the
have
timer and
to
the switch are
jump right
effectively doing the
off.
exact same thing,
Yeah.
killing all power to the pavilion.
Yeah, all you're doing is adding the switch in line. Unless you're running separate wire
If you're not
out
running
to the
another wire up
lights.
there, you can't do it.
Right. Yeah, if you're,
You can,
Two way, you certainly can.
oh, you just jump a wire off in the wires that are out there already.
Or whatever Ben said.
well, hold on.
Show me how I'm wrong, Bob.
Whatever.
Okay, so you've got,
I don't know.
right now, you've got the wires that are going out to the pavilion. You've got a hot and a
Neutral.
neutral.
And line
And that's it.
and ground.
To get power out to the lights, if you're coming off of the plugs, you're coming off of a hot, off of the plugs. Which if you're putting the switch inside the building and then just tapping into the power out at the pavilion, you're just killing the hot wire to everything going out. You'd have to run a hot wire out to the lights separate from the control box. Like you could have a separate set of wires coming in from the control box to the switch, and then that power going out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can have a two-way light like Bob's talking about, but it takes another wire. Is there another wire there?
Takes the switch on the box.
Okay, so if I put a switch here, I drew it up. In the barn, you got a breaker box, then a timer. Right now that runs out there. Now you're gonna add a switch. How are you gonna get power to lights and not kill it when you kill the switch? Unless you dig up the ground and put another wire. I do know how a
There's-
two-way switch works, Bob. I
Is
know
there-
really well how they work.
So-
And you ain't gonna do it with three-way wires.
Is
Okay.
is there conduit in between? There's conduit in between
It
the
might be able to race a wire, I don't know.
It's underground.
yeah. So
Is it
if there's
conduit
enough
from A to B or
room,
direct burial?
Yep, it's conduit.
yeah. So then, I guess the question is, I mean, I understand what you're saying. They're going to use the circuit that the plugs are on. Fine.
They can put a
that's
switch
great.
out at the pavilion for the lights, come out of the plug, switch it before it goes to the lights
Right, but then that switch would have to be
in the pavilion.
in the pavilion.
The electrician will take care of that. So he's got it in bid. We've already talked with him about it. He said there's no,
I'm just,
he said there's no issue, but
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as long as the bid includes, because yeah, the way that it sounds to me, if he's just tapping off of the power from the plugs in the pavilion, then a plug after the control box does you no good because you're literally just switching on and off all the power going out. You have to have another wire going out like you can jumper off with your hot out of the box to the switch, then to the lights. That's what I want to make sure is what's happening. Is it's not just like, okay, because you're running the power from the plugs out there that are already existing, then you would need to actually switch it out after wherever you're jumpering out of the plugs. You get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, I'm trying to remember how it was.
But if there's conduit and he feels like he can fish the
They
wire
both said
through.
they could do it, and they give you a price.
Yeah, one of them, the DC Electric does not actually
Yeah,
talk
there's a
about
switch.
a switch
I
that's
thought it was
controlled
actually,
by the timer. Only the Cooper Electric does.
right, because when we had talked to this other company about a switch until afterwards, DC, or Cooper is the one that brought it up and said there'd be no problem, you just do it with a switch. And so I want to make
But
sure
read- but
DC
read
Electric
Cooper.
is doing the same thing.
Cooper's clearly states, also includes a switch that is controlled by the timer. The other gentleman doesn't say anything about a switch, but does clearly say he's going to use the power in the barn, in the pavilion, to do it. So,
I think it was so, when there's no events, you can shut it off.
as long as you're willing to have a switch in the pavilion, it solves all the problems. If you don't want it in the pavilion,
It bypasses the timer.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter where the switch is as long as the power's ran correctly. That's all I care about.
Right.
Like, yeah, we can put a switch in there to turn off the lights, so you only have power to the outlets. That's fine. I just want to make sure that the quote, this cheaper quote, because like others are pointing out, it does not say that it includes a switch.
Can you go back to DC?
Yeah.
Talk to them?
That's what I
Go
said.
back and check them, but it's still a switch is not the difference of almost $1,000.
Yeah.
A switch is definitely not that much.
about $800.
800, but whatever, you can get clarification, you're not comfortable, fine. Cooper said he could put it in for that price, and if his price goes up, then at least you would know. Whatever, I mean, that's what they get paid for, they got the license for it. People at DOS don't have a license.
I can contact them and make sure that it's gonna be done that way, and see if there is a price difference. If there is, I'm thinking, it's probably only gonna be like $50 in order to put a switch in
You
there.
should check.
It's not gonna be a huge amount.
Well,
I can verify it.
It depends. If it's gonna be back in the barn and run wires back in the barn, it ain't gonna be $50 no more.
No,
Right. That's, yeah, just, I would get,
Somebody's gotta make a decision first, where do you want this switch? That changes the
Right.
whole scope of things.
right. Because they're gonna have to run wire somewhere.
Hey,
no.
I don't know, and maybe they do or maybe they don't. I don't know where extra wires ran.
Ran, planned
Did they
for.
use 12.2 with the ground, or did they use 12.3 with the ground? Now there's an extra wire. I don't know what they ran through there.
I really think it's still right there at the control box, out at the pavilion. You got the big grease, could put the switch off in that, where the power goes from that to the plug. There's a switch right there.
If you can put a switch there, it's, either one of them can do that.
Right.
I mean, no.
And if it's a winterized with the cover, I mean, if it's, you could even put a lock on it if
You
you want to.
lock it so nobody can turn it on. Because you'd have people over there at
I
1,
mean, I
2
would-
o'clock in the morning turn the lights on.
I would just make sure it gets installed correctly, because we have one of those outdoor switches at the house, and it constantly freezes during the winter. So, like, I would just make sure that they get a good sealed one.
You know, you do what you want. I don't think you need to worry about locking it up per se, because it's still controlled by the timer.
Yeah, as long as it's on the timer, that's
They
not.
can't turn the lights on at 2 in the morning if the timer's working, and they already can plug in if the timer's not working.
Electrician will tell you your best angle, the cheapest, or your expensive, whatever.
But that's why we have to talk about it.
That's what he said he'd go back and double
Yeah,
check.
I
So,
can contact
I would,
them.
I would, yeah, I mean, because I know the porta potty, they probably are gonna need sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
Well, when are they planning on trying to get it put out there?
April.
April?
Well, they're good, plan on trying to see if they got the type that it won't freeze up so they can have it year round.
But you didn't get quotes yet.
Not yet. Cheryl was talking to them.
So what do we do with this then? If we
Well-
don't have the porta potty quote, we can't look at it.
I
The
was,
quote's not accurate for the electric until they get answers.
yeah, but we've done approvals before, like where you say, okay, this is 1,170, approved up to 1,200. And then it'll take care of it without holding it up.
Well, I guess the other question then is, when would the electric start?
As soon as we get it approved, I call them and tell them, let's go.
So, for the porta potty, since you are looking to change the type of porta john that is out there potentially, because you want one that's year round.
They said it might happen, is what they said.
Right. So in that case, we should see the quote for that before we say yay or nay on that. On the electrical, we could do what Todd is suggesting. How quickly could you get an answer from DC?
I'll call him tomorrow. I don't know if he's out on his job or not, but
Because here's what I'm thinking, and was going to come up in the additional agenda items not covered. I got a hold of Alex from Row. We have to schedule a special meeting for the 27th. For the zoning ordinance stuff. If you could get that, we can put that approval, like, hey, yes, this is updated, it shows that it includes, hasn't inherently changed or whatever, the cost. It includes the switch. We can then take action on it on the 27th. And that puts the board being able to still take action at their next meeting.
And that's,
The porta john, though, I say we hold off until you guys get the actual quote for, this is the type that we're gonna put in, this is what it's gonna
she
be.
could have that by the 27th though, because she was already working on it.
yeah.
And that.
Well, I mean, if we have it by the 27th, great, yeah.
No.
If we don't, then I would still say we hold off onto it until we get the actual quote. But if we can have it by the 27th, because you guys have already approved the idea of what you want to have done.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I mean, if Cheryl can get the quote by the 27th, then yeah, I mean, we can finish the action on that. I think that's probably the way to do it. Let's not, like, yes, I see you guys have it as a high priority, but I also think, like, if we're gonna say, yeah, go ahead with this, or yeah, we recommend going ahead with this to the board, they're gonna want that information anyway, and we don't wanna make, half assumptions either, so.
Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow. and see
Is
what he's
everybody
available.
in agreement on that then? Get the votes? Okay.
I
On the
can
porta potty
I
though,
agree.
on the porta potty, you didn't get quotes, but you made a motion to use the same company. Why not get quotes and then make a motion?
She
that
had
you're gonna
prices
use?
She
when she
had
talked
three
to him,
quotes.
but the only thing she didn't
All right, I
have.
apologize because I'm being told by a non-representative that you're wrong because she did have quotes. But a little while ago I was told there was no quote.
She had-
What's accurate?
She had quotes for the outhouse, but she did not have it for having it year round where it won't freeze up.
Okay.
So she needed to
Okay,
clarify.
well, we don't have a
that.
quote in front of us, so I am accurate. There's no quote in front of me.
Not complete.
Okay,
Right.
well, there's no quote period in front of me for a toilet. Not even half complete. If there's a quote out there that nobody gave me, then I don't have it.
All right.
Anyway, my point was, if there is no quotes at this point, or if there's quotes and they're not accurate, my question is simple. Why are you choosing to use the same company without a quote? Now, you could say, because we did get a quote, we want a different quote.
It wasn't
And I would know
quote,
the
it
whole
was
story.
cheaper.
And they were a lot cheaper.
And I would know the whole story now.
Yeah.
And she had it in writing.
Either way, didn't need to comment, Bob, because that's not
Okay.
accurate until he tells me that.
That's what it was. She had
Thank
a
you.
quote, but the,
Now it makes sense.
yeah.
You get the other information. Thank you.
So it still stands. Get the information
Yep.
before the 27th. And then we can move on with that. So we can get it to the board for their next meeting in, where would it be, March
11th.
Yeah. All right, so other parts on the liaison report, looking into projects for upcoming season. I think the horseshoe pits we already talked about, right? We got the stuff to do that. We just gotta get someone to level out the ground where the pits are gonna go in at. Because I think the plan was to just put them where they have posts now, correct?
Yeah.
It just needs to be
I
graded
wouldn't
out.
call that horseshoe pit. I'd call it
Well,
stakes in the ground.
Where the stakes currently are,
Yeah.
where they kind of had a pit
Right.
idea laid out,
Yeah.
it was to put it there, but it just needs to be graded out, right?
I don't remember what the other thing here too was about we want to get prices on, I call it a permanent outhouse. I don't remember what the name of it is.
Pit.
Pit.
Yeah, pit.
Start getting prices and stuff like that in order to have it over there permanent. And then other things that we want to add to the park if possible, look at the prices. Like we were saying, different surface for the playground. We've been talking about that for a while. Possible area for a basketball court, because we're talking about maybe looking to see if there's grants available in order for us to be able to use to get some of this other stuff going.
Yeah, I mean, your best bet is probably to, and for like the playground surface area, maybe looking at some places that do help with ADA accessibility.
Right.
They might have some stuff that could help you guys, especially for the set of swings over there. And then still, you guys are still looking at the sled hill,
Right.
figuring it out.
What's going on with that? Because that should be a priority.
Bob and I went out and took measurements of it. It's 90 feet by 60 feet by 26. The other two piles that are over, the material that's over there, we'd be able to use, not right now because it's real solid, but that's not going to be enough. So Therese was talking to others about prices on what it would cost and like that. And like I said, Bob and I went over there and done the measuring on it. The back side that's washing out, we had talked about a retaining wall. And then the concern was, well, if they fall off, but the retaining wall is there, but you can still have dirt coming down off the back of it, so it's not a direct drop off. So just looking at other options, because we had talked about railroad ties at one point, but right now I think we're leaning toward a retaining wall with another smaller, I don't know how to explain it. I got it drawn out.
A wall to keep it from washing out more and then grading up to the wall to give ease of access, essentially.
Just so that you don't have an 8-foot wall there that they could fall off of. It'll be more of a sand or dirt, whatever, on the backside.
You don't have
Maybe
a
another
room on the
slope
back.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, gradual slope there.
On the back there, if you put up much back there, you're blocking the trail with the walkout. So the retaining walls makes it really straight up, and then some dirt there instead of
See,
coming way off.
There's still dirt
You
coming
have a lot
back.
more taper, and then you block the trail. So it's got telephone poles they talked about and other things too.
Could you possibly do like the retaining wall and not put
Yeah, I
the gradual
kinda
slope
got an
there, but
idea.
have like a fence or something so that way nobody falls off that side?
Well, you'd have to do that on top,
Yeah.
but the retaining wall doesn't go all the way to the top. You only go partial way up just to hold your erosion at the bottom, or push some dirt 4 or 5 feet up. And
So, I mean, but it does sound like there's quotes.
We have a source for telephone poles that we can use for a retaining wall, which wouldn't cost us anything. And then the other part would be how much material we need in order to slope everything else out. So that's what we're working on right now.
But you're working on getting quotes to actually do
Yeah.
the labor and everything. Okay. Okay. Does that answer your question, Ben?
Yeah, I would just like to see it move to the top as importance. I think it's,
Okay.
you obviously need a porta potty before you start, obviously, but I think it's as important as anything else. it's been talked about for many years now, so. And it's been brought up by other people like it's a new thing they never knew about, so.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I also agree, it should probably get a higher priority as well.
Keep in mind that standing water back there. It's easy to say you want something done, but water.
But there
takes a
hasn't
lot.
been standing water for 3 years now, has there?
Oh, yeah, there is.
Every day for 3 years? I walked back there last year in the summertime, so it was dry.
Nobody would put any money to it.
That's my point. Move it to the top of the list. You might not be able to do it until June or
There you
April or
go.
July or August. But if you don't have it at the top of your list, we're next winter again, folks.
There you are, you're 100%.
And also, if you're talking not being able to do it till June or July, when the new budget hits, at least then you have a plan for how
You got
much
it.
money you're gonna have to spend to fix it properly.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for Parks and Rec then?
I thought I did have something else, I don't remember now, I didn't write it down.
Ben, did they approve the advisory committee? Did they talk about that at all?
Yeah, I believe that was it last month.
Yeah.
Let me look right here.
I think she said she has 2 or 3 names for that want help with events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't recall hearing if the board said yay or nay to it.
I know they did. I'm just looking for where they're at. Okay, right here. Bruce made the motion, Deb seconded it, 5 yes. And that was at the January meeting.
Okay. Okay.
2 Parks and Rec subcommittee, volunteers, no pay.
All right. Then there's nothing else for the Parks and Rec stuff. Move on to agenda item 9. Additional items not on. Additional agenda items not covered above. And that is basically I'm going to be setting. I've already talked to Alex. This is the day that works for him. It's the 27th. It'll start at 7 o'clock, so there'll be a special meeting to go over the zoning ordinances on that day. So
That's the
February.
27th, which is already in my calendar, so.
Yeah.
I already have that for reserve for the planning commission meeting.
Yeah.
Never took it out.
Right. He is trying to get us the full draft, but it is another person that has to do all that stuff, and he wasn't sure what her timing availability is, but there is stuff to cover when he comes in, so that's what that meeting will be about. So we'll either have a full draft, or we'll have drafts of the stuff that we covered in November. I can't remember. I don't think we talked to him in December.
I think it was November.
He hasn't been here since November.
It's gonna be quite a few months though, right? Because he brings it up, we go through it, the board has to, trustees gotta go through it. I think Ben, you was talking about how many different steps it still has to go through to be able to
The only thing
implement.
I couldn't remember is, do we do the public hearing before we send it to
We
the other
do-
communities? Or do we wait till after we
do
send it
a
to
public
the other communities?
hearing, but I think yes.
I
I'd
can
have to.
remember.
I mean, I'll have to ask Alex, but he will tell us the full rundown of it. I mean, I do.
It's one way or the other, but both have to be done,
Yeah.
but I don't remember which is first.
Yeah, there's a surrounding community review period, which,
Which also includes the township board should be, you know,
well, but they have their own separate meeting.
but they should be brought up to speed with it by
Right.
I hope, so they have
Hopefully.
time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which means we gotta have it finalized before we present it to anybody.
Right. Yeah, which is, the hope is that by this meeting on the 27th, he has the full draft. If he doesn't, then the March meeting is when we'll have the draft, the full draft, and we can squabble over any little bits and pieces here and there before we send it on to the next step, which would be I think it's, what, 30 days? I think was the surrounding
Yeah,
community
I
review.
can't remember if that's before or after the public hearing. Do we
I
basically
think
hold
it's
our public
before.
hearing and then push it out?
I think
Or
it's
we send
before,
it out?
because then you tell them the day that you're gonna have
Okay.
the
Yeah.
public hearing, so if anybody from those surrounding communities wanna come and voice their opinion on some change, they can come to that meeting and,
Right.
and voice their opinion, so I think it's before. So I don't need a motion or anything for that, I'm telling you, I'm setting the special meeting for that day. I don't think there's anything else, unless anybody else had anything that, from anywhere else that needed to be covered. If not, then we'll go to public comment. Any public comment?
No, just thought that was the letter or whatever he was wanting, so
Yep.
Yeah.
I can get you a copy of this.
Oh, you already got it?
Yeah, I just went back and printed it out.
I can get you, I'll make a copy of this for you, the email.
I mean, for our records. I'm not denying,
No.
I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
doubting that what you did is accurate, but it doesn't say it's from the attorney. You don't even say it's from the attorney in there. Verbally, you told us,
Okay,
but nothing there says that.
okay.
That's all I meant. Get a copy for later.
But if you want a copy of this, I will give you a copy.
I can take it now or when we deal with it. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
I mean, this should not be the one that's the permanent record. Something from the attorney should be the permanent record, is what I was driving at.
I have a question.
Yeah.
These other two, things that we have here now, are they on the agenda for March? They are in March.
Yes. March 13th. Yes. We set them for the regular meeting on the 13th.
Okay.
I just remembered the other thing about it that we talked about.
As long as we don't have to take action on it, you can talk.
We don't, but we talked about getting a metal sign with the rules and stuff, like what the city
Oh,
had.
yeah.
Instead, we thought it would be a better idea, since we have this big bulletin board, sign out there, is to put the rules in there on like on a bright colored paper, at least for the first few months or whatever, until we finalize, okay, this is exactly what we want. That way you can add to it, you can take away from it,
I mean, it still stands that you, like, for enforcement of it, you need an ordinance like the
Yeah.
city has.
Yeah, but we're just saying, don't order a metal one right away, because then, a couple months down the road, it's like, yeah, we should have put that in. To where if we do it with the paper inside the case, you can adjust until you got everything exactly.
I think
like
the
you want.
metal sign could just simply be like what is up at the city, where it's, here's the hours of operation, nobody in, after this. And then the other rules that you're talking about could still be in there, but the metal sign specifically calls out the ordinance, and that ordinance also includes all those rules, which you're gonna have to have regardless. Because if you don't have that ordinance for enforcement, having those rules means nothing really. I mean, it's,
Plenty of room in that big sign, we got two-sided signs, it'd be read the same.
yeah, and the problem with a piece of paper in there is that if it's not facing
It wasn't.
a certain way, it's going to get faded over time. That's why I'm saying a metal sign that has the ordinance listed on it is gonna not fade as quickly as a piece of paper. That's why I'm suggesting having a similar thing as to what they have up at the city. That's just my suggestion, because that's what they have up there, and that seems to be working for them to a certain extent.
I thought you were going to use Ben's sign and say, I'm only one person.
I'm gonna say it just differently. It is my opinion that it should be done this way.
It's more for Charlie to try and work around, you already got a congested area, but.
I just wanted to mention that we haven't said we're not going to get the sign, but we're discussing it, and
Right.
for right now.
So for now, it's not
Right.
until you get
Right.
farther down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Get your
And,
law on there, your,
yeah.
whatever it is, and.
My biggest thing is the first part of it has to be the ordinance to get any type of enforcement.
Right.
If there's no ordinance to enforce, then having rules means nothing.
Yeah, you gotta have an ordinance.
Yeah.
There's already an ordinance anyway,
For enforcement of
the park.
the park, oh, there you go. It's just making sure that what you want is in there.
It's either ordinance or policy, I don't know for sure, I can't.
Well,
remember.
hopefully it's an ordinance.
There's a lot of difference in those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, I've read something, I can't remember.
It's a policy.
Is it a policy?
I believe so.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 8:09.
I'm gonna be at home in time for ghosts.
Oh, you want that, I like that, is that.
I love that show.
Oh, that's fine, that's what,
Not everybody likes the cherry, you know.
That's
fine, it's fine.
Yeah.